4 o'clock or 1600 hours to call this meeting of the Atlantic County Board of Commissioners to order in compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act of the State of New Jersey. Adequate notice of this meeting of the Atlantic County Board of Commissioners was provided in the following manner. Published in the Press of Atlantic City, mailed to the Kern and the Hamilton Gazette, and has been posted on the bulletin boards in the county office building in Atlantic City, the Stillwater building in Northfield, and the county clerk's office in Mays Landing. We'll now have our opening prayer.
Dear Lord, I pray that you guide us always, satisfy the needs that need to be met during this meeting, and strengthen us to make wise decisions for the betterment of our Atlantic County community. Amen.
Amen. Please rise to flag salute. Attention, salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Ballas.
Here.
Martino.
Here.
Corsi. Days.
Here.
Fitzpatrick. Here. Gatto.
Here.
Kern.
Here.
Parker.
Present.
Grizzly.
Here. We've all been given the minutes of the meeting of September the 19th. I will entertain a motion to adopt the minutes presented. So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded, moved by Commissioner Parker, seconded by Commissioner Kern. Any discussion on the minutes? If not, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Ballas.
Yes.
Martino.
Yes.
Corsi.
Yes.
Days.
Yes.
Fitzpatrick.
Abstain.
Gatto.
Yes.
Kern.
Yes.
Parker.
Yes.
Grizzly.
Yes. Anyone in person that would like to speak during public comments, please come to the podium, state your name and the town you reside. You will be provided 3 minutes to speak. If you're attending virtually, please type yes and the resolution number in the question and answer box. Any items not listed on the agenda, you may speak during public comments. You'll be called to speak and a request to unmute will be sent. Please state your name and the town you reside in. Okay. Before we move into our resolutions or grants, I'll entertain a motion to move resolution 548 to adopt. Moved by Commissioner Corsi, second by Commissioner Gatto. Any discussion on that? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. We'll now entertain the motion to adopt same.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Corsi, second by Commissioner Kern. Madam Clerk, please read it. Title.
Amending resolution number 610 adopted November 9, 2021, a memorandum of agreement with the Atlantic County Prosecutor's Office and CWA 1036 Assistant Prosecutors authorizing an amended written collective bargaining agreement incorporating the terms of the MOA for a 5-year period commencing January 1st, 2020.
Thank you. Been moved and second. Any discussion? Yes.
Mr. Chair, so we did discuss this in the,
Yes, we
in the
did.
subcommittee yesterday. And I think it's important to note, the changes that are happening with this amendment. While there is cost associated with the amendment, and an increase, contractually, the prosecutor's office has, made some other changes within their own budget to be able to essentially fund the increased amendment amount. And I don't know, I know our prosecutor is here if you want him to speak directly to
Absolutely.
those changes, but it was good conversation. Appreciated the detail you gave us, the prosecutor.
Sure. Thank you, Commissioner Gatto. Thank you to all the commissioners. Appreciate the opportunity to be here. I can tell you, from a perspective before I get into the details of the contract, and Ernie, I promise this isn't my speech for tonight. I know I'd like to criticize me.
Appreciate it.
My offendedness, but I say that with all due respect. The county has been a tremendous partner with our office, with a lot of things that we've been doing. This was really to be able to carry out our primary function, our primary mission to prosecute cases, When our administration took over, and with me tonight, I have First Assistant Prosecutor Eric Bergman, Executive Assistant Rick McKelvey, and our Office Manager, Captain Matt Pally. The four of us worked collectively on this because it was addressing a need. When our administration took over in June of 2022, we were down 14 attorneys out of about 42 attorneys. So we were down about a third. And one of the contributing factors to the reason why we were down a third in staffing the office was the starting salary. And, you know, collectively, Mr. Bergen, and he's been in the office for over 20 years, passionately investigated and researched what all the other counties and the Attorney General's office was paying. We were losing people to the Attorney General's office because they were making $25,000 more a year to leave from Mays Landing to go to the AG's office in Atlantic City. So it was a struggle because our starting salary was one of the lowest in the state. And at one time, the actual lowest in the state, and then the AG's office was giving significant more, to especially the lateral. So with that as the backdrop, the only way we were able to become competitive with the other agencies, both the county prosecutor's offices around our county, as well as the Attorney General's office, was to go to the county, go to Mr. Del Rosso, the administrator, and County Counsel Jim Ferguson, and finance and the treasurer. And we sat down and we really banged our heads together and said, how can we make these changes without costing the taxpayer more money, right? Because our primary mission is to prosecute cases and keep our community safe and clean. So Captain Talley, who's our budget guru, sat down the night after the meeting, and we spent the whole night on the phone, and he's sitting on his back deck, and we're on our cell phone, and we talked about how can we do it. And what we did is exactly what Commissioner Gatto indicated in our conversation in the meeting yesterday, was that we reallocated resources towards our primary mission of prosecuting cases. And one of the things why that was so important was that we've made policy decisions since our administration has taken over that we don't remand those lower level cases anymore, but we have an extra 3,200 cases since our administration has taken over that otherwise would have either been dismissed or remanded. So we need staffing for that. We needed to fill 14 spots. Since our administration has been in, we've actually lost a few people, went to other counties in the AG's office for more money. So we had to backfill those spots and fill those 14. I can proudly say we're actually holding 3, and that's part of one of the things that we discussed in being able to do it economically feasible for the county. So we are not backfilling a position that was part of our outreach division for a whole year. That is a savings of significant money. We are not giving any merit bonuses to the APs. That was something that we took off the table with this increase in the starting salary and increase in salary for all the APs. And we also basically took off the table the vacation buyback. So 3 things that we did is we didn't backfill the community outreach director spot, not giving back money for vacation buyback, and no merit money for raises, because every year at the end of the year, there was actually an evaluation and merit money given to APs, and our plan was for that to be over $100,000 this year. So we decided together what would be best service to not only our office, but the county. That was to reallocate these resources, put it towards the AP salary, take money off one line item, move it to another, so that our budget remained flat, we still remain under budget, save the money for the taxpayer, but give greater service for what our primary mission is. And that's really how it came to fruition. I can tell you that the county has been tremendous to deal with. We've dealt with so many issues together with Administrator Del Rosso and County Counsel Ferguson, and it's reflective of the governing body here tonight. Because every time we've called with an issue, this was a real serious issue for us because we had no applicants for new law clerks coming out of judges' chambers to the prosecutor's office. It was the first time ever that the prosecutor's office did not have applicants as judges' clerks because they were going to other places because the money was so much more significant. We actually interviewed one woman. She went to Camden for like $12,000 more. We spent an hour and a half basically begging her to come to our office, and she worked for one of our judges. But $12,000 to a brand new lawyer who has student loans, right? That's life changing, and she went to Camden. So with the county's help, we were able to get this done, and we really appreciate you guys taking this first and the consideration. We really believe. I know I'm a constitutional officer. I really believe this is a partnership between our agency, the county and this board, and we really appreciate the consideration that's been given. And I think this is an example of us working together, and I think the taxpayers need to know. It's why we felt so important to bring our whole team here tonight to let you know how much we appreciate it. It's not lost on us.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Thank you.
Mr.
Thank you so
Chairman,
much.
Yes.
I don't have no questions, but you still went through that book. That was a repeat from yesterday, but good job.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay. Good. Any other discussion? Anyone else like to speak on this?
Thank you.
Very good. Public comment.
Thank you.
Hearing none. Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Ballas?
Yes.
Martino?
Yes.
Forsy?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Kern?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes. Madam Clerk, would you please read 536?
Amending resolution number 136 adopted on March 21st, 2023, a grant from the New Jersey Department of Law and Public Safety, Office of the Attorney General for the Victims of Crime Act program, funded amount $718,804, county in-kind match $179,811.
Move.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Corsi, second by Commissioner Kern. Discussion? I believe we discussed a number of these, all of these, quite frankly, in the Budget Committee. And this resolution, as I remember, was to correct a $100 error, something of that nature. So that's what that's about. Any other discussion? Any public comment? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Alice?
Yes.
Martino?
Yes.
Forsy?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Kern?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes, please read 537.
Grant application and acceptance from the New Jersey Transit Corporation for section 5310, operating assistance for fiscal year 2022, amount not to exceed $600,000.
Move.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Corsi, second by Commissioner Kern. Discussion? Just by way of explanation, I understand this will help fund 6 new buses for seniors and disabled. Any discussion? Any public comment? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Alice?
Yes.
Martino?
Yes.
Forsy?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Kern?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes, please read 538.
Grant application to the New Jersey Department of Transportation for the Urban Gateway Enhancement Program, amount not to exceed $32,000.
Move.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Corsi, second by Commissioner Kern. Discussion? Any public comment? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Ballas?
Yes.
Martino?
Yes.
Forsy?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Kern?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes. Okay, moving on to 539.
Amending resolution number 433 adopted on August 15, 2023, a professional services agreement with Johnson, Merriman, and Thompson Incorporated for the replacement of 2 bridges at Weymouth Road over Skulls Run, HML 18, and Little Mill Stream, HML 19, in Hamilton Township. Net increase $12,230.
Move.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Parker, second by Commissioner Gatto. Discussion?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
just one, there's a lot of action items today on the agenda, and all of them were discussed in Bridges and Roads Committee recently, and they were okay to move forward for your consideration. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion? Any public comment? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Ballas?
Yes.
Martino?
Yes.
Forsy? Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Kern?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes, please read 540.
Amending resolution number 400 adopted on July 19, 2022, a professional services agreement with Remington and Bernick Engineers for specific engineering projects to extend the term date. Net increase $50,000.
Move.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Kern, second by Commissioner Gatto. Discussion? Any public comment? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Ballas?
Yes.
Martino?
Yes.
Forsy?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Kern?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes, please read 541.
Bid contract with MB Markland Contracting Company to replace fall restraining anchors on the drill tower at the Atlantic County Training Center. Amount not to exceed $22,980.
Move.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Kern, second by Commissioner Days. Discussion? Public comment? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Ballas?
Yes.
Martino?
Yes.
Forty?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Kern?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Frisbee.
Yes, please read 542.
Bid contract with South State Incorporated for mechanical and electrical maintenance on Green Bank Bridge, Green Bank Road, County Route 563, amount not to exceed $298,200.
Moved.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Parker, second by Commissioner Kern. Discussion?
Uh,
I'm sorry, Commissioner Kern. Gatto, second that motion. Thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Discussion?
just a quick note, this is a result of our third time going out to bid on this item, so, we made every attempt to get the best price. Went out 3 times, even with an alternate, bid option, and this is what we got. It's important, but it's a big price tag.
Any other discussion? Any public comment? Hearing none, call the roll, please.
Ballas?
Yes.
Martino?
Yes.
Forty?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Kern?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Frisbee.
Yes, please read 543.
Bid contract with Arawak Paving Company Incorporated for the resurfacing of Weymouth Road, County Route 559, section part of 8B through 9 in the Township of Hamilton, amount not to exceed $1,497,900.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Kern, second by Commissioner Gatto. Discussion? Any public comment? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Ballas?
Yes.
Martino?
Yes.
Forty?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Kern?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Frisbee.
Yes, please read 544.
Renewal EUS contract with Jewish Family Service of Atlantic and Piegan Counties to provide outreach services for the Central Municipal Court of Atlantic County, amount not to exceed $171,400.
Moved.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Bertino, second by Commissioner Gatto. Yes, got that right. Discussion. Hearing none. Any public comment? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Alice?
Yes.
Martino?
Yes.
Corsi?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Kern?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Frisbee.
Yes. Please read 545.
Deed of conservation restriction in favor of the state of New Jersey to establish a grassland conservation management area at property designated as block 591, lot 1.02, and block 864, lot 15 on the tax map of Hamilton Township.
Move.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Kern, second by Commissioner Days. Discussion? Hearing none. Any public comment? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Alice?
Yes.
Martino?
Yes.
Corsi?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Kern?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Frisbee.
Yes, please read 546.
Alternate method contract with Excella Incorporated to provide software licensing and support for the Division of Public Health, amount not to exceed $47,467.41.
Move. Second.
Moved by Commissioner Kern, second by Commissioner Gatto. Discussion? Hearing none. Any public comment? 546. Hearing none, please call the roll.
Alice?
Yes.
Martino?
Yes.
Corsi?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Kern?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Frisbee.
Yes, please read 547.
Intergovernmental Services Agreement with the City of Atlantic City to provide environmental health services within the jurisdiction of Atlantic City, amount not to exceed $48,000.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Kern, second by Commissioner Gatto. Discussion? Any public comment? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Alice?
Yes.
Martino?
Yes.
Corsi?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Kern?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Frisbee.
Yes, please read 549.
Amending resolution number 487 adopted on September 5th, 2023, a memorandum of agreement with the Teamsters Local 331 Superintendent of Elections, authorizing an amended written collective bargaining agreement incorporating the terms of the MOA for a 3-year period commencing January 1, 2023.
Moved.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Ballas, second by Commissioner Parker. Discussion?
Mr. Chair, we can.
Yes.
I don't know if Marcus wants.
Yes, would you like to speak, sir?
I do. Good afternoon. How's everybody?
Good.
It's so good to see all of you again. Let me just say that I know that this is coming before you again, and I'm hoping that you do grace us and vote yes. We did 4 contracts with the county, right? And probably the 4 best contracts we ever did. This one, I think because we did 4 in a row, little confusion. So I want to thank you first of all, because one of your councilmen told me politely I did not come back to say thank you. So I want to publicly say thank you. And thank you to Mr. DeRosso as well. Because when my members came to you to complain about their wages, you heard them. And you took the time and you gave them time to say what they needed to say. And so I don't want to hold your meeting up too long, but I personally want to say thank you. And I probably have one more contract under my belt, so hoping that you all stay here together for a few more years so that we can be successful and raise the wages here in Atlantic County. But thank you, and I'm hoping that you vote yes on this one.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Any other discussion?
Just to Marcus, I mean, I know Marcus works really hard to represent his members and ensure they're getting the fair due. So thank you to you, Marcus, because you're always very reasonable to work with as well.
Thank you.
Don't give me that look. Come on.
There you go.
She said-
That's it. Right to the next person.
Mr. Chairman, move the meeting because Amy just hit her head. No, good job.
I'd like to say thank you to you as well, and I'd like to thank this board and thank our administration for
Yes.
for everyone working together. We heard what our employees had to say. It didn't go on deaf ears, and we all came together, said we were going to do something about it, and we did. So it's good to know that we're working for our employees.
Thank you, Commissioner Parker. And let me just say that you did say that publicly when you weren't sitting at this desk. So I do appreciate your words.
Yes,
They mean
sir.
a lot.
Yes, sir.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Any other comments? Any public comments? Hearing none. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Ballas?
Yes.
Martino?
Yes.
Dorsey?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Kern?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Bensley?
Yes.
Thank you.
Welcome. Please read number 550, please.
Acceptance of deeds easements from various grantors in accordance with Atlantic County planning standards.
Second. Moved by Commissioner Kern, second by Commissioner Days. Discussion? Any public comment? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Ballas?
Yes.
Martino?
Yes.
Dorsey?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Kern?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Bensley?
Yes, please read 551.
Memorandum of Agreement between the Atlantic County Sheriff's Office and Stockton University for the provision of sheriff patrol services, revenue generating.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Gatto, second by Commissioner Kern. Discussion?
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
just to highlight that we were told that this will be fulfilled using some of the capacity of the sheriffs who no longer will be servicing the court. They'll be helping Stockton with this, and we'll be getting the revenue to fund those positions for that.
I have a question.
Yes.
You said they'll be getting a revenue from
Stockton.
From Stockton. So Stockton's paying for this.
Yeah, they are short-staffed and reached out to the sheriff's department to help with.
To assist them with their policing.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Any discussion?
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
yeah, I definitely have some concerns with this. First of all, I mean, we were just here a couple months ago voting on a resolution to give the security at the courthouse to a private company because the sheriff's office could not handle it. Now we're saying we're voting on a resolution to give them something else. Doesn't make any sense. Just to say that this is revenue generating doesn't make any sense to me either, because it says up to $75,000. You can't hire a sheriff's officer under $100,000. So right off the bat, we're $25,000 in the hole. Now, every municipality has a mutual aid agreement with other municipalities. So Stockton has mutual aid agreements through the prosecutor's office, through the Chiefs of Police Association, with their surrounding police departments. So if they're in need, they call for mutual aid, and the mutual aid agreements is that Galloway, or if it's in Atlantic City would then respond and assist them for that situation. When we had the central municipal court with protection by the sheriff's office, we had to assign or give enough money to the sheriff's office to have 7 officers and 2 supervisors, a lieutenant and a sergeant. Now, the central municipal court is a mile away from the criminal courthouse, which is the headquarters for the sheriff's office, which has all their administration and all their supervisors. If they needed to have 2 supervisors a mile away to make sure that their officers were doing what they needed to do, how we send them all the way to Galloway without sending a supervisor also? So to say it's revenue generating, I do not see how this is revenue generating for the county. If there's a mutual aid agreement and they're in a situation where they need an officer to come out and assist them, but to start running programs on weekends, plus, I mean, where's the PBA? If they're short-staffed, why are they not paying overtime? Not the sheriff's office PBA, but Stockton Police Department's PBA. I think we're stepping on weak ground here. And again, I don't know why it's in front of us anyway, because the sheriff's office is his own appointing authority. So I don't know, we can tell the sheriff's office what they can do and what they can't do anyway. So this whole resolution is very confusing to me.
Well, let's get some clarity and ask the administration. Gary?
Reason why there's a resolution before you is because originally, when they started, they were just doing, and Commissioner Bowers should know because he was the sheriff, they could just go ahead and do whatever they wanted to do. When they collect the revenue, obviously, and I would defer to the treasurer on how she handles the money doesn't go back into the sheriff's budget. So this was a way to see if we could get the money back into his budget, that's all. And Bonnie will tell you, as she has told me many times, in this particular case, if in fact he's not spending all of his money, let's be clear. He doesn't have all his positions filled. So his vacancies are covering a lot of his whatever he's spending. As an example, the contract is for 1,200 hours, roughly $60 an hour. So if he gets a call and he sends a person over there for let's say a shift, 8 hours, he's making $60 per hour. The money technically gets paid to the county. County treasurer takes that in as revenue. It doesn't go back into the sheriff's budget. That means he had to pay for that. He's paying $35, $40 an hour, and we're collecting revenue about $60 an hour. So the point is, this was to see if we could get the money back into his budget. That's the only reason why it's here. That's all. He won't need it, believe me, he won't need it because he doesn't have enough, he hasn't filled all his vacancies to be able to, his vacancies are covering whatever salaries he's paying outside. We don't know every place that he, as the sheriff is for Commissioner Bowser said, he can do whatever he wants out there. He has to stay within his budget framework.
Mr. Balance, you had your hand up first.
Yeah, well, sure, if an officer gets injured out there, are they gonna be covered by county's workman's comp or Stockton's workman's comp?
I think there's an agreement, there is an agreement, Jim's not here, Jim had to go someplace. I believe they're covered, we've done this before, same way we had some issues with Atlantic City years ago, and so all these agreements say that the host agency in this particular case is liable, in this case, Stockton.
So if an officer gets injured out there,
It's
they're gonna pay.
That's correct. It's their liability.
Commissioner Dace, you had a hand
Yeah,
up.
Jared, this says that this program started in August 3rd, so for 2 months now. Have they been paying for 2 months?
My understanding is that you're Jim now, so yeah, yes, they have.
So,
I mean,
why?
Bonnie's here too, you could ask Bonnie if she's getting any revenue. I don't
Right. I'm just curious why it's coming out. It also says that they're patrolling the Galloway campus on an agreed upon schedule, so it doesn't sound like they're on call. Since they have a set schedule and they're showing up
Well,
and.
they're out there.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's in other locations as well, we just don't know all of his locations. He's in a number of locations.
Just to update you, Mr. Ferguson, we're talking about resolution 551 regarding the sheriff's office in Stockton.
Yes, the sheriff's office had the arrangement, made that arrangement. That's been enforced now. This is the second year they've done that. The sheriff sat down with his staff, with the security staff at Stockton. They came up with a plan. I was asked to review it. I did. I found no fault with it from a legal standpoint. Questions have been raised whether, that's something that should be done, I guess, but, the sheriff is his own entity in terms of, how he runs his office. My only role in it was to see whether the document was, legal, from a legal standpoint, whether there'd be anything that could get his office into trouble from a liability standpoint. It didn't appear to me that there was anything unreasonable about the arrangement. And so from a legal standpoint, I approved it. But this is the second year for that. It's been a while since I've looked at the agreement. My recollection of it is that he gives so many hours of time to this, and then after that, it's a revenue generating device for the sheriff's office.
He gives the first 100 hours. Lieutenant Falcone is on, I believe he's still on.
Yes, sir, I'm still on.
Why don't you explain the hours again, Lieutenant?
It's not like calls for service. We're actually scheduled to work shifts hand in hand with our officers. I believe they did reach out to Galloway prior to us, and Galloway refused to man posts with them. I'm sure they're still available for calls for service, mutual aid. The first 100 hours was on us, and 1,250 hours billed at $60 an hour, which is set to expire later this month. And Stockton's working on another MOA.
Mr. Bowers?
Yes, again, now that Jim's here, can you just clarify the question that if an officer gets injured, it's on, especially when we're donating the 100 hours, that Stockton is going to cover the workman's comp rate and not the county?
I believe that's the case. I'll have to look at the agreement. I believe I have a copy of the agreement here. If you give me a couple of minutes, I brought the agreement with me, and I'll look at it and let you know.
And again, this is just so confusing. This resolution means that if we vote for this, the $75,000 goes back into the sheriff's budget and not back in surplus, or it's vice versa?
As of right now, it's a revenue, so it'll go into the revenue, the sheriff's office revenue account. It's not gonna offset their budget. They don't need it to offset their budget.
So what's the purpose of us voting on this resolution?
No, well,
Does
I
anybody
can.
know?
I can. Originally, yeah, I can.
Okay,
Originally, he was concerned. The sheriff called me and said, I'm concerned that I want to make sure that I don't overspend my budget. So anything I'm doing in the community and where you would get revenue, and it was the Stockton agreement. So I went back to purchasing and said, how can we get the money back into the budget? So I said, well, one way you could do that is get an actual contract. You get it voted on, and then you have like an expenditure and you have a revenue. They would offset. So that's why we're doing this. We don't have to do this. But he would never see the money.
but I don't understand. How can we have a sheriff's office that cannot handle security in a courthouse? They have to give it up and give, after us providing them with over $1 million to hire 7 officers and 2 supervisors, that's 9 people.
Yeah.
They can't handle that, but they can handle something else at the same time. That doesn't make any sense.
Commissioner, that's not the reason why they're not in the municipal courthouse. They're not in the municipal courthouse because Mr. DeDorco and I went to the sheriff to say, well, let's go step back.
Wait, sir, wait. They can't change midway. when we voted on it, to give it to the private security company, you, out of your mouth, said that the sheriff said he cannot handle it. And that's what,
I didn't say that.
oh, okay.
I did not say that. Well, we went to him and said,
All right,
I'll
all right,
give you the exact language that I
We'll-
used here.
we'll change
You
the
go-
record.
Go
Go
back
ahead.
and look. Go back and look.
We will.
The agreement was, the mayors recommended that we use the sheriff. We, the county, had said, we think we could do this cheaper. The mayors voted to do the sheriff, which was roughly $500,000 more than private security. And actually now it's like,
Because private security can do it for a lot less people.
correct. So-
Because the whole
Right.
thing was overinflated, which you knew from the beginning.
So 3 months ago, we went back to the, the mayors. They said, we want you to reduce the cost. So we said, okay, fine. Here were the recommendations we had from the very beginning. One was to see if we could get the legislation changed. You all got the letter from the county executive saying we're gonna see if we can put the state filings back to the town of origin, one. Two, we were gonna go out and do an RFP to see if we could get a law firm, and there are law firms already doing this, to do prosecution and public defenders. Rather than hiring individuals individually and then, paying the kind of money that they've asked us to pay. So that's three. We're out for an RFP. They come back in on Thursday. And then we went to the sheriff and said to the sheriff, look, it was recommended by the membership that we hire you. In the meantime, they're now telling us they want us to reduce the cost. We can't have this both ways. At that time, he agreed that he would pull out of there if we had a way to reduce the cost. We had a way to reduce the cost, and we showed that to him. He was I'm gonna be very honest with you, he was very amenable to that recommendation. And so we did. So we agreed on a date. We worked through the issues. The union took us, by the way, to PERC. Jim will tell you, we wanted PERC. And so therefore, we had this arrangement with the union. We made that agreement. The sheriff pulled his people out. We put in the private security. Saves roughly $410,000. We went back to the membership last night. We showed them what the budgets look like with that reduction, $410,000. And I can be very honest with you, the issue with we've been told anyway that there'll be no vote on the state filings until after the election. So that's number two. And then number three is the getting either a law firm or the private sector lawyers to do prosecution and public defenders for less money than we're presently paying. That comes in Thursday. So that's where we are.
Well, if I could, Chairman, there had to be a reason why we had to do it mid-year, because we paid the sheriff over $1 million for 9 people. Halfway through the year, we decided that we had to put this private security company in there and pay them for the remainder of the year, plus still have that money in the sheriff's office budget, because the agreement was there will be no layoffs. So all them positions are still there except for whatever he had vacancies of.
That's
And then
right.
them couple
That's
officers, I think you had said there was 3 or 4 positions that were vacant at the
There were
time.
5 actually.
Okay, so there's 5, so there's still 4 positions that we're fully funding with benefits, including 2 supervisors.
No. The supervisors were part of the 9. So
Exactly,
you have 7 officers,
great, but then 2 supervisor
supervisors.
positions weren't there before.
either were the officers.
It-
So
So it's not-
wherever the vacancies are. So if you said to me today, what's going to happen? He has 2 or 3 vacancies that will occur between now and the end of the year, and he has some vacancies at the beginning of the year. So just telling you that is.
Again, my question is, if you can't handle the court security, how can you handle stuff outside? Going and giving 100 hours to a state, that's a state school that people pay tuition to go to. Why is it on the county tax dollar? And it's not revenue generating. You can say all you want, it's revenue
Let
generating,
me
but
ask you a question.
it's
Like,
not revenue
when you
generating.
were the sheriff, did you do any police work? I just want to ask you, did you, when you were the
At
sheriff, did
Stockton?
you do any police work?
In Stockton, absolutely not.
Anywhere? Anywhere?
In the county, in Atlantic County.
Did you do police work? Yeah.
In Atlantic County,
Yeah, okay, yeah,
absolutely in
okay.
Atlantic County.
Well,
And I think the sheriff's office should do police work in Atlantic
I'm
County.
not disagreeing, I'm merely saying.
But they shouldn't be in a state-sponsored school.
County government, just so you know, county government has never funded the sheriff to do police work. So when you guys do police work, we fund you for the core principles.
The core
That's it,
functions of the
right?
sheriff's office. You're exactly right.
And that is let's be clear, it's the courts, it's warrants, it's the transportation, okay? It has nothing to do with policing, so I don't know whether this is even relevant here.
And-
We do not pay for that.
And as the sheriff, there was never a
Right.
core function that we couldn't handle.
So, Mr. Chair.
I'd just like to say something to correct the misimpression about the role of the sheriff and sheriff officers at the Central Municipal Court. They weren't removed out of there because they weren't capable of doing the work anymore.
Nobody
We were
said that.
told by the participating municipalities that the cost of security was much too high. And we were asked, almost demanded, that we look into alternatives for that. We did that. We sat down with the president of the PBA and his attorney, and we said, which they were going to file an unfair labor practice because they claimed we were taking their work away from them. I've always disputed the fact that of their claim that that was their work. It's a municipal court. It's not a superior court where the sheriff's office has jurisdiction to do security. It's a different court, albeit it's in a county building, but it's not a superior court function that mandates that they be there. That's number one. We sat down with them and they said that what they were concerned about is that we would be able to maintain minimum staffing levels. They presented what those figures were. Jerry talked to the sheriff. There was an agreement. I sent a letter, I believe it was dated August 22nd, outlining that we had a deal, and that my understanding was that they would agree to withdraw the unfair practice charge and any grievance that may flow from that. A couple days later, after the letter went out, they came back and said, we don't believe, the attorney came back, called me and said, I don't believe we can enforce that agreement, and therefore we're going to have to go to PERC. They filed what's called an application for interim relief, which is almost like a form of an injunction. You're seeking an administrative agency to issue an injunction preventing the agreement with the security company from taking effect, and they filed an unfair labor practice. We were given an opportunity to respond. I reached out and obtained the services of attorney Russell Lichtenstein from the Cooper Levinson firm, who does a lot of this work. And Russell filed a response to the unfair labor practice charge and cited my letter as the grounds for the fact that there was an agreement and that in order to get an injunction or interim relief, you have to show irreparable harm. We argue that there was no harm at all. The agreement results in the sheriff's officers' duties, where 8 or 9 officers, whatever it is, will no longer be working in the Central Municipal Court. They'll be shifted over to other duties. It's a transfer of work assignments, which, as you know, Frank, you were there, that's a managerial prerogative in every sense of the word, okay? And PERC agreed. They went back to the union, basically said, we believe you have an enforceable agreement here, and we think the fair thing here is for you to settle this matter and accept the terms of the staffing arrangement that the county and the sheriff have agreed to, and dismiss the unfair practice charge, the application for interim relief, and also any grievance that could have arisen out of that. There was a settlement agreement to that effect signed by both the union attorney, and then on a Friday afternoon, I remember I got that, I took it into the county administrator who signed. That matter is done, and that's the way that process unfolded. And it was done with the idea of making that court more efficient, to serve the needs of a shared services agreement, which is what a shared services agreement is supposed to do, to cut down costs, to consolidate services. That's exactly what that court is doing, and it was not going to work as effectively under the agreement that we had with the sheriff doing it, where the cost was almost $1.1 million a year. I think it was the right move, and that's why that agreement was made. As to the issue with Stockton, you know, I was not involved in the negotiations with that. All I was asked to do was to review an agreement, which I did. But I didn't make that agreement. I didn't participate in the making of that agreement, just so that we're clear on that. And I believe that after a certain point, it is a revenue generator. Maybe not, one could argue whether the amount's a significant amount of revenue, but it is a revenue generator at some point. So that's my view of the subject, and I have nothing further to say on the issue.
Commissioner Corsi, you had your hand up?
Disregard, I'm ready to vote.
Yes.
It's still, can someone just tell me, what does a yes vote mean and what does a no vote mean as far as this resolution goes? I'm still confused.
You're accepting the agreement if you vote in favor of it.
6 months.
So, Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry. It seems to be a little confusion regarding what the Commissioner Ballas said. I've heard Mr. Ferguson, I heard Gary. What's the urgency? Can we probably come back to it?
6 months.
Come to Budget Committee, take another look at it. Is it an urgency?
No, so, let me,
It's well, they did from August to December.
Ms. Lindau answered
I'm
the
sorry?
question. Ms. Lindau answered the question. So the reason why it's here,
She didn't know.
is if at any point in time, we're getting the revenue in. If at any point in time, the sheriff went over on his budget, which we don't anticipate that he will do. But if he did, Bonnie could then put the money back into his budget. That's what this does, period.
So I'm gonna go back to my original question, Chairman, if I may.
Yeah.
Is there any urgency to this resolution now? If not, I would make a motion that we table it, send it back to committee and come up with additional. You still have questions? My colleague over there is raising his hand like he's a little confused as well. It might be the right thing to do, right? But if it's not urgent, why don't we make, a matter of fact, I make a motion, but we pull it, table it, send it to committee.
If it's just a procedural thing, then.
It's a
fine.
motion on the floor.
Second. Been moved and seconded to table this resolution.
Mr. Chairman, I understand that it goes to committee.
Okay, it's fine. Please call the roll then.
So to be clear, the motion is to table it and send it to the to a committee,
That's very clear.
to the budget committee. All right, so if you vote yes,
I think it should go to a different committee since we discussed it and didn't have these questions. So
But there's still some questions, Amy, is coming up.
All
The
right.
committee goes.
they can come to us, you guys can give us our question. Right.
this is sort of unorthodox. Mr. Chairman, I don't know if you want to allow.
There's a whole lot of things unorthodox around here, but.
Um,
Well, once there's a motion, there's no discussion.
Yeah, it's discussion. It's either voted up or down.
No, they're not voting.
Either
no,
table it or not.
I'm
This
saying
is
it's
a motion to table. This is not to take definitive action, it's a motion to table.
It was moved in second, Chair.
Moved and seconded to table. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Ballas?
No.
Martino?
Yes.
Corsi?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Motion table, yes.
Kern?
Yes, motion to table.
Parker?
Yes.
Grizzly?
Yes. All right, now we're back at the main. No, we're not. It's tabled and we'll have public comment.
So, Mr. Chairman,
No, it's dead.
No public comment on that.
I'm sorry, you're correct. You're correct.
Next one.
Table. It's done. You're correct. I'm sorry, I misspoke. I misspoke.
They can comment on after at the end.
Exactly. Public comment at the end. Okay. Moving right along. Please read resolution 552.
governing body certification of the annual audit.
Motion.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Patino, second by Commissioner Kern. Discussion? Bonnie, would you like to?
I'd like to
Give a
commend our
few.
staff for meeting with all of us and informing us about the budget, and it seems like our budget continues to get better and better, and it's good news. Our audit, I'm sorry, and our audit seems to get better and better. So thank you for the work that you're doing and for taking the time out to make sure that we're informed of everything that's going on.
Bonnie, would you like to give a little brief synopsis?
Well, the synopsis is that it was a clean audit report.
Yes.
Each of the commissioners had an opportunity to meet with auditors, go over the details in the audit. And we had a clean audit. Warren Brody is on if he wanted to say something. They're always, cooperative, and working with the staff and getting the information that they need to complete the documents.
Well, for those of us that really took the time to read it, and I'm sure you did, and go back and reread it again, it's an important document. It's something that this county can be very proud of. Because if you look at the figures, you look at the way this county has been managed over the years, the key has been consistency. You look at the tax rates over the years, you look at the indebtedness of the county. We are very, very low in that regard as compared with other governing bodies. That's in the report as well, and it'll explain to you how to figure the percentage of what the indebtedness of the county is. Our cash balances are up, and that's important going into another budget year and so on and so forth. So this county financially is very, very well managed, and that's why we continue to uphold our AA bond rating, which is so important when we go out and do things like build bridges and roads and schools and God knows what all things we do in the county. It's very, very important, our bond rating. It means everything. So it's a great audit. It's good reading. It's a little dry in spots, but it's a good document to read. All right, and Mr. Brody's online.
Good afternoon. Thanks for inviting me to present audit results, and I appreciate all the good comments. I want to thank Bonnie and her staff. They do a great job. And, I'm pleased to report the county's 2020 audit was a clean and unmodified audit opinion. So that's the highest level of assurance you can get. So job well done.
122.
Right. All right, well, thank you, Warren.
That 2020 was clean too.
What did I say?
2020.
Okay, well, I'm 2 years behind, but no, 2022.
We knew what you meant, Warren.
Yes. Any other discussion? Any public comment on this resolution? Sir, yes. On the audit, sure.
It will be on the audit. I'm
Yes, sir.
certain it relates to the audit. My name is Augustus Harmon, 300 South Chester Avenue, Pleasantville, New Jersey. I rise to come today. I might be a little bit belated, but I've certainly read in the media where our county executive, Denny Levison, was able to lower the budget in Atlantic County 3 cents. And 51 years, I've been an economist, just fighting to keep the rates livable. So I come to applaud Denny Levison. I'll be a surprise to him for me to come here and say this, but the good things we don't hear about too much.
That's correct.
It happens and it's forgotten. So having served where you guys are sitting, see many of my good old friends, I have maintained that we put the children first, the taxpayer second, and then the health of the people. Our nation is in a turmoil. And I'm not gonna get off on a sermon, but back to the point. Secondly, thank you, Denny. We know it's election time. It is definitely not political, but when you have something that's good, you hold on to it and you applaud it. So that's what I'm standing here doing today. Secondly, I had the privilege to encounter some matters with, and surprise another gentleman, our county executive, Mr. Del Russell, communicating with 3 of his employees that I don't know the names. But they were so intelligent and so nice and so kind. 4 months in the 88 years myself, I think that Kane causes people to be extremely nice to me. So it is
Probably nice.
privilege and a pleasure to get old. Because so many say, well, man, I don't want to get old, da 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 da. Every day it's worth $1 million to me. My close friends and buddies are gone. And that does have an effect. Not too many of you are past 80, so you can't understand. But live long enough, you'll be aware of that. My last comment is, would you please convey to those young ladies, Mr. Del Russell, I don't know who they were.
They're probably sitting right here.
Could be, but they were good and great. And I please convey to them,
I'll do that.
it was a pleasure. Leaving the county building, I'm in Main Planning. I didn't see any provisions for the one-legged guys. There could be. Usually, you can go around the back and there's a step for a walk. But I rise today to ask whatever department that falls, take a look. There's nothing out there, 22 steps. I had to lose a leg, 26 years military, to go back and say, wait a minute, let's look at the handicapped guys and gals. So it could happen to anyone. Again, I'm privileged. I am still at it, the vice president of the Atlantic County Special Services School.
Yes, sir.
And I want to commend Mr. Ridley, the board, what you guys do for us. And the word is again, that's good, and please continue. We have 321 youngsters, some of them are past 21, just was born the wrong way, handicapped. And we are serving them as the staff and good old Dr. Gunther, we are doing our job. But it comes from you guys, this board of commissioners and good old Kenny Levis.
Okay,
Thank you for listening
thank you.
and keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Thanks for all you do, Mr.
See you, Mr. Moon.
Yeah.
Oh, and thank you, son, for driving down here.
He was also in the conference.
Well, Mr. Harmon, we're very proud of our staff here. We have a great staff in this county. We're very proud of it. And we have an elevator in the back. A lot of people don't realize that. We do have an elevator in the back. But thank you for the kind words. Okay,
Proud to have him come out to our meeting.
yes, we
It's a
are.
very special honor to have you here, Mr. Harmon.
Any other discussion on 552? Any public comment on 552? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Alice.
Yes.
Martino.
Yes.
Dorsey.
Yes.
Hayes.
Yes.
Fitzpatrick.
Yes.
Gatto.
Yes.
Kern.
Yes.
Parker.
Yes.
Grizzly.
Yes, please read 553.
Emergency contract with South State Incorporated for repair of the Dorset Avenue Bridge, B1, span lock system in the city of Ventnor, amount not to exceed $191,750.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Corsi, second by Commissioner Kern. Discussion? Any public comment on 553? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Alice.
Yes.
Pino.
Yes.
Dorsey.
Yes.
Days.
Yes.
Fitzpatrick.
Yes.
Gatto.
Yes.
Kern.
Yes.
Parker.
Yes.
Ridley.
Yes, please read 554.
Authorizing consent for a roadway solicitation event by the Pardon Volunteer Fire Company Number 1 at the intersection of English Creek Avenue, County Route 575, and West Jersey Avenue in the Township of Egg Harbor on Saturday, November 18, 2023, from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m.
Moved.
Second.
Okay, moved by Commissioner Parker, second by Commissioner Gatto. Discussion? Hearing none. Public comment? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Malice.
Yes.
Martino.
Yes.
Corsi.
Yes.
Days.
Yes.
Fitzpatrick.
Yes.
Gatto.
Yes.
Kern.
Yes.
Parker.
Yes.
Ridley.
Yes, please read 555.
Resolution requesting the state legislature to rescind New Jersey sanctuary state status.
Is there a motion? Is there a motion? For discussion?
Motion.
Made by Commissioner Bertino. Is there a second? Okay,
There it goes.
all right, and then the, well, does not go forward. No second. No
There
second.
is no second.
There is no second.
Dies on the floor.
Okay, moving on. Reports of special committees of the board. Anybody?
Oh.
Yes, Commissioner Bertino.
Just the one, as I talked about earlier, Bridges and Roads met recently this last week. A lot of the items on the agenda. You are going to be seeing a lot more projects that are coming through the pipeline that are near completion. There's quite a few we have in the planning stages. As you know, your minutes were all sent to you guys. You look, there's quite a few projects in all over Atlantic County. Bridges, roads, drainage, public works, it's all there. So I just want everybody to know, keep when you're out there, try to have some patience during the construction times. When you see some of the signage and stuff, I know it drives you crazy, but we can only work when the weather's good. And that happens to be through the busiest time of the year when we all need the road. So just want to keep that in mind, but thank you for your patience.
Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Yes,
So Chairman, Roden Bridges,
Yes, sir.
did Fort open this week or last week? Fort Bridge.
Fort Bridge is, yeah, last week they started up again. Last week, you still got the right of way. There's that one little issue with the ground we're doing at the triangle there, which I believe is completed, should be if it isn't already. So,
But it's
but
open.
it's not in fact, it's not interfering with the crossing of the bridge. Yep.
okay, items, reports, committees? Yes,
With the Disability Advisory Board, it is Disability Awareness Month, and we will be having the Donald Sykes Awards coming up. And it's really, really a nice event that this board puts on every year, and it's amazing what some of these people do. But it's some of the requirements recognition for their outstanding achievements and contributions for our community. So take a look and, see about the event coming up, and you'll see some things in the paper about the individuals that will be in honor.
any other committee reports? I have one, regarding the South Jersey Economic Development District, which is a four-county district that I chair. We've been earnestly soliciting and looking for a new executive director as our current executive director would like to retire, very much like to retire. And we did a search, did quite a search, we received a number of applications. A lot of them just weren't the right fit for the job. We re-advertised and went out again. And I'm happy to report that we have three very well qualified individuals, and we'll be doing second interviews of these three. And hopefully we'll be able to select one and keep the South Jersey Economic Development District going in the right direction. We're very, very healthy financially, and we look forward to some good things in the future with that. Okay, any unfinished business? Yes. Any new business? Anyone have any items of new business?
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
I was contacted by, people who live at, I think it's the California Apartments on, California Avenue, the one-story, condos or apartments, not the two-story ones in Pleasantville, but in Absecon. Anyway, they're having a problem with parking. And they asked the parking and speeding. I know the speeding is not our thing, that's the city of Absecon. But the parking, they requested that we put lines, a lot of people park on the shoulder. And they said it would be a lot more efficient if we could put lines in the shoulder delineating parking spaces. Could we do that?
Is it on a county road or is it?
It's a county road,
It's at the planning.
Okay, Route 9?
California Avenue,
California other side.
it's a county road.
Yeah, let it look at
If it's
planning,
not
make
like-
sure there's no
yeah.
issues on
Yep.
space and
Yep.
site triangles and everything else we deal with. When you allow parking on the side of the road, especially if it's just in a
tricky.
particular piece.
Right.
They'll look.
Thank you, thank you.
Okay. Anything else under new business? Any written communications or petitions?
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
I did have written communication from, Father March from St. Vincent de Paul in Mays Landing asking for speed reduction on, US Route 40. So Karen, to your point of like speed reductions, my favorite entity, New Jersey DOT, got back to us on the request saying that in 3 months, they might be able to tell us that they'll look at it. So, it's my favorite group in the state of New Jersey. So we'll see what happens, but yeah,
And you
when
will
stuff
keep
like,
going.
oh, I will definitely keep going, but yeah, when stuff like that comes up to us, it's so frustrating. But we'll keep trying.
That's a very dangerous spot. for
It's
people.
extremely dangerous.
People are pulling over and want to go to the cemetery and church there.
And the schools.
Schools, yes. It's a
And the jail.
very, very speed problem there. Okay. All right, we'll move to the public to open the meeting to the public at this time. Anyone like to speak, please come forward and give your name and address, please.
Joseph O'Donoghue, 160 Alder Avenue, Egg Harbor Township, New Jersey. Presently committeeman for Egg Harbor Township. I listened to this conversation that took place about the sheriff's office in Stockton College tonight. And I will tell you that Stockton College has had the privilege to have 3 police cars from the sheriff's office assigned there every weekend at an overtime detail rate. Stockton College was referred to as having a security force. Sir, nothing could be further from the truth. They have a police department, certified and trained, they're police officers. This is a move to undermine both that agency and the private security that works there. And Galloway Township responds every time they're requested to do so to that agency for any assistance they may need. Sheriff has refused. Keep in mind, I came in front of this board prior to being elected to public office, or was elected prior to being appointed, to talk about this matter several years ago. Why would the sheriff, why would he get $1.2 million and decide that he did not want this job? Now, it's been said several different nice ways, but I was at a meeting last night. Both gentlemen that are here tonight spoke, were there. Specifically and verbatim, he refused to continue that job with the courts. We placed a private security no-bid contract with a private security agency for 6.25, 625,000, or maybe it's 75,000, I may be wrong. But at what cost do the citizens, the staff, and the judges have to bear if something goes wrong in that court? Now, we could play with this all night. Here's the facts, and I know. I have 40 years in law enforcement. And I'm presently the state SORA instructor, which means I instruct security guards what they can and cannot.
Address us up here.
Here's the problem. They cannot effectuate an arrest, and they cannot detain legally. And what I also heard last night was, we can usher them into a room. No, you cannot. You don't have the legal authority to detain, arrest, or anything. And look what police go through now with the authority to do so. We also heard from the chief of police in Hamilton Township that said he had made a prior agreement to police that agency for us, that court system, but that was rejected. But he no longer had the manpower to respond to the calls because the county just assumed that they would respond to those calls. They have 113.2 square miles in Hamilton Township with the possibility of only 3 to 4 police officers and a supervisor. There's no way they could manage that. So here we are again, stuck in this realm. Do I think that the staffing could have been reduced? I know it could have. It should have been reduced from the beginning instead of 9 officers. And by the way, it was said that the county won in a dispute. I take exception to that, absolutely. As being both the state representative for that PBA for many years, that was not a win on the county's part. That was a deal. They said, we won't lose any positions. You guys will be safe, and gals, you're not gonna lose your jobs. What they did was they made a deal. It was not a win. Let's be clear on that, because words have meaning. There's no win in PERC. It's a decision. Secondly, foremost, the public safety is at stake here. I myself have witnessed what goes on in those courts. It's completely out of control. The public has not been safe going to and from the building. And yes, that hasn't been that way since Frank Ballas was sheriff. I'll give him that credit. And for the record, at one point, he was my opponent. I can tell you he did do police work. He had a DWI patrol, which no longer exists. That's important. They wrote tickets when necessary. That no longer exists. And he did it on the present budget that he had. He felt within his budget and accomplished the goals. And we'll take it a step further. He did public service as well, but he knew where the limit was. He knew the constitutional office of sheriff has an outline of its delegated duties, and those have to be abided by.
Wrap it up.
Chairman, you got 3 minutes.
That's all I have to say at this point. I think I've said it all. I
3 minutes.
I don't like the fact that the sheriff's department is referred to as an agency that doesn't do police work. We are trained in the same academies. We go through the same training. And yes, the sheriff has the opportunity and he can do whatever he wants with the agency, whether it's pass out food from the food bank or do police work.
Well, thank you.
Thank you
for your comments.
So, Mr. Chairman, let me ask the question, because I want to be very clear. If it's 3 minutes, I don't give a rat's ass who it is.
I try to be.
It's 3 minutes. You got to
I
abide by
try
the
to
rules.
be-
Because I noticed on occasion, you allow certain people to go over the top. If it's going to be 3 minutes, it's 3 minutes for everybody,
First of all,
no matter who they are.
I've never cut anyone off.
But it's 3 minutes.
Never.
That's the rule we made,
Never.
right?
That's true.
I apologize.
Stay by the
that I
rule.
know that. I realized that would.
I just want to be clear if it's going to be 3 minutes. If not, everybody can speak as long as you spoke.
Rules. It's a passion for me. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Would anyone else like to speak? Yes, sir. Would you please give your name and address?
My full name is Cristian Moreno Rodriguez. I currently reside at 4114 Bender Avenue, Atlantic City, New Jersey. Born and raised by the community in Atlantic City. I'm currently the director of El Pueblo Unido of Atlantic City. We are an immigrant justice nonprofit organization dedicated to empowering and educating the undocumented community here in Atlantic County. And I'm here to tell you that we're not going away anytime soon. I stand before you, and I hate that you wasted our afternoon. You activated our entire community for this type of anti-immigrant and xenophobic resolution. I'm glad that this not move forward. But I'm here to put you on notice, Commissioner Chairman, that we will no longer as a community tolerate or let you continue your anti-immigrant and xenophobic rhetoric without a response from our community. Today, we have a show of force, not just from Latinos, and we got the Colombianos here, we got the Hondureños, we got Dominicans, Mexicans, Puerto Ricans, but we also have our African-American brothers and sisters. We have our Pakistani councilman from Atlantic City, Anshum Zia here. We got the Hispanic Association, we got Local 54s. We got the community here. And what this shows is that we're stronger together and that we're tired of both Republicans and Democrats playing games with our immigrant community, passing or trying to put resolutions on the agenda that divide our community, instill fear and divisiveness in the undocumented community. Enough's enough. There's an election going on. We all see it. This is dog whistling politics at its worst. At its worst. And so if you're going to continue to push these resolutions like you have tried recently and even several years ago, then we're going to keep showing out, and we're not afraid to hold both Republicans and Democrats accountable. Because at the end of the day, you all enjoy the benefits and reap the rewards of undocumented labor in Atlantic County, but you don't have the decency to give us the respect and dignity that we deserve. Because we're already here, and we're not going away anytime soon. Since you took the time to put this on the agenda without even putting it for a vote, we're still going to show up and we're still going to speak out. We have speakers here from the community that are going to speak, and you have to listen to us. This is what democracy is. And so at the end of the day, I do appreciate that this didn't go forward, but stop playing games with our community. Enough's enough. Thank you.
Anyone else like to speak?
Good afternoon, John Amato, 4046 Oak Road, Una, New Jersey. I have several questions regarding the opiate settlement funding. Atlantic County is going to get somewhere in the neighborhood of $300,000 the next 20 years due to the opiate settlement money. There were several meetings 2 years ago, and several committees, several subcommittees were made. And with all the organizations, and we are blessed in Atlantic County to have excellent organizations when it comes to the opiate epidemic and the disease of addiction. At that time, it was decided that all the money goes to one entity, and that was Atlantic Care's Bridge program. Excellent program. And they do very good work. I want to emphasize that they do very good work. People in the committees thought that they could have done a lot better by distributing that money to multiple organizations as opposed to giving it to one organization. And just a little bit of background on that organizations, they have the ability to take a client in and then charge the insurance company. And if they don't have insurance, they'll get them Medicaid, which will charge Medicaid. So technically, they're not giving it for free. They're charging insurance companies. We were all told that the following year, the next year coming up, that it would be different. That they would look into these multiple other organizations that are in Atlantic County and distribute the money. My understanding that all the money again this year went to Atlantic Care. Now, if you continue to give 100% of your money to treatment and nothing to prevention, you're always going to need treatment. That's the facts. So what I urge this commission to do is to look into this. You guys signed off on this. You know, you get a committee to give you a proposition, you look at it and then you sign off on it. You got to look at these things. There are multiple organizations in Atlantic County, in Atlantic City, that help people. Now, this money can only be used for the opiate epidemic. Can't be used for anything else. Can't be used for alcohol, can't be used for tobacco, can't be used for any of that. Specific. And think of it, $300,000 for the next 20 years. And the last question I have you, if you give $500,000 to an organization, how do you take it away? What do they do next year? If you guys decide to move the money somewhere else, what do? They've gotten $500,000 for the last 2 years. Did they close down? These things should have been thought of way before this. And I just implore you to, in the future, with this money coming in, look at the multiple organizations. You know, you've got Hope One, you have Angels in Motion, you have Jewish Family Services. You know, you got all these.
And they all do
South Jersey
good
Aid
work.
Alliance.
Right.
And they all need money, because we all need money.
Right.
And you had the opportunity to give 25,000 here, 50,000 there, and you didn't do that. You gave it to one organization, and I'm gonna emphasize it the last time, they do a hell of a job. They're a great organization, and I have nothing against Atlantic Care. What I think is that, in my estimation, prevention is the key to what we need to do.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Anyone else like to speak?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Creed Pogue, Estelle Manor. By the way, I notice you have a sign here that says 3-minute limit. You have a clock. It's on the agenda.
Yes.
So perhaps anyone trying to say they weren't quite aware, we'll take it from there. Also, by the way, on more of a general thing, I could hear from the speakers back there better than I can hear from you folks up front. So just, it's a small room. I know there's issues, but so I just lift that up for your consideration. Also, I want to applaud everybody for making a decision not to do something, seconding Resolution 555. There were plenty of Anglo allies here as well and concerned about where that was going to go, and I'm happy that it wasn't seconded, but I would also express the concern, it should never have been on the agenda. There was no sponsor. There was no sponsor listed. That's required under your bylaws to have something go on the agenda. There's no sponsor listed. If it came from 1333, it should just have said that, but usually those things are the contracts and other agreements that come through county administration. It should never have been on the agenda. I've been here for a number of these various posturing things that often occur 35 days before the first Tuesday after the first Monday in November. They don't produce anything. Looking at what was written here, did anyone actually look at the Attorney General directive that is in place that this is referring to? The word sanctuary is mentioned once. We're not providing a sanctuary to anybody violating the law. Now, we can have disagreements regarding public policy, and that's fine. But the people who have the least involvement with immigration, the county commissioners. And yet, here's a thing to basically just rile up the base. Completely unproductive. I also just want to lift up the resolution regarding Stockton. We sometimes say in government, there's no good deed goes unpunished. So the sheriff agrees, first provide coverage, is then told in essence that we would like to save money on it. Whether that should be done or not is a whole other discussion. That's the mayors, that's the county administration, etc. But agrees to do that. People aren't laid off, finds another thing that needs doing, goes ahead and does that, works with the county to accommodate the money. I will try to be rather quick after that. And then we're going through all of this, and whether you really were referring it to the budget committee or tabling, I'm not going to quibble over Robert's rules. But again, 35 days out. If this was 40 days out, I doubt we'd probably be arguing about it anywhere near as much, which is sad. If there's a change in November and a new sheriff wants to go do some of these various things, which are going to happen because since 1837, that's all been part of the job. We wouldn't be arguing about it then. let's try to rise above. Let's not have resolutions with no sponsors that address nothing, because again, on the resolution part, on bills, supposedly it had to be a specific bill. That didn't happen either. That didn't happen either. And for the sheriff part, hopefully we can do better. And I know I'm over my 3 minutes, and so I will end that again.
Celeste Fernandez, Galloway, New Jersey, and also the voice of the Hispanic Association of Alani County. I want to thank you for withdrawing 555, Resolution 555, and ask you to please help to staff the division in our community. If we all work together, we do better. We do better. Instead of just taking a position that you took and go to a press release and show hate and division against our community, the immigrant community, especially the Hispanic or Latino community. That hurts. We all want to see our county thrive. We can work together. We will appreciate if you come to us as a community leaders, as a small businesses, as our organizations and say, hey, this is the issue. What are you thought? We appreciate that. We're not here to point at you, to fight with you, against you. We're here with you. And it broke my heart when I heard from the county executive saying our county is poor. And it's there. When you see in Google, you look for the poorest county in New Jersey, Alani County. This is our home. This is home for me and my family. That's heartbreaking. But in all of that, I thank you. And because we are so poor, maybe we learn something for this information that I'm going to share from the Latino community via quick. In many ways, Latinos have been holding up the U.S. economy, especially since the COVID-19 pandemic began in 2020. The U.S. Latino economy continued to grow, reaching $3.2 trillion in 2021. Let me repeat that number, $3.2 trillion in 2021, and up from $2.8 trillion the prior year. That's according to the report. 97 billion the Latino community brings to New Jersey or brought in 2018. Okay? At this point, we should be in New Jersey, 1 trillion. Why Alani County, that is so diverse and have a 20% or Latino population in here, is so poor? When we bring into the whole country 3.2 trillion, it's the first time in the report history the figure has climbed about 3 trillion. And listen to this. If Latinos in the US with an independent country or an independent nation, its economy will be the 5th largest in the world. The 5th largest, bigger than the United Kingdom, India, or France. That says something. So we are here to help. 3.2 trillion in 1 year and continue to grow. So that's it, we should be working together, not against them. And that board, with all that respect, the board of commissioners should be reflecting the community that they serve. Why we don't have an Hispanic or Latino representation in that board? Because the meeting of the minds and the ideas come from the experience that we bring to the table. So what I see is you're not looking for my interest, my family, or my community interest. We should work together if we're looking for each other's interests. Thank you again, and I hope we don't have to be in this position again. We was before with the 447, okay, and now with the 555. I hope next time is 000, and we are working together.
Nice.
Steve Young, Black City, President National Action Network, South Jersey chapter. Just want to first of all say thanks to Frank Ballas, Commissioner,
on the jail committee. We had a good meeting earlier, and communication is very much needed. Because a lot of black and brown people are incarcerated right now, and a lot of them in the county jail haven't been found guilty at this point. What I want to talk about is we must understand what the word immigrants really mean. We have to go back to history. And whoever put it on the agenda, I want to remind them, it wasn't too long ago. Some of us was brought here in slave ships. And some of us was brought here on ships and built the country, but also stole the country. And after 400-something years, slavery still exists right here in New Jersey under the 13th Amendment, if you've been incarcerated. We've been trying over and over again for this state of New Jersey to remove that language out of the Constitution of New Jersey. It's very important that we understand that a lot of things is going backwards when it comes to educating people, when it comes to voting rights, when it comes to being able to speak. Our rights are being still taken away, especially the black and brown people. So in the future, we would hope that you never consider putting nothing like that on the agenda again, 555. Because it's basically saying that immigrants and refugees, and the definition is basically saying it's like this. It says wildlife with predators are controlled and hunting is illegal. Can you imagine that? Being treated like an animal just because you come from somewhere else? Where's the human rights? What is the human right that we're supposed to have? The freedom that we're supposed to have equally, it still don't exist. And we need to wake up to that fact. But to put something like this on the agenda, it's really embarrassing to this county. The people that's been speaking against immigrants coming here, I think it's very hypocritical for somebody to say they don't want people to come here. And most of them was brought here or stolen and brought over here. That's a hypocrite. So we must understand, all of us, all of this world belongs to all of us. And we must treat it that way. And we must treat each other equally and in peace and in love. So I just want to conclude with this. Our birthrights, Roe versus Wade has been taken away, affirmative action has been taken away, and our voting rights has definitely been taken away. So we have things that we can be fighting together on. And I wish that we can continue to do that in the future. But for now, whoever put that, we would like to have a personal meeting with the person that wanted to put this on the agenda. And I want to applaud you for not even barely getting a vote, but definitely none of you did a second. So we got to applaud you when you do right. So we want to thank you very much for doing that.
Hello, my name is Jose Rivera Sinclair. I'm a resident of 5 Gravel Lane, Egg Harbor Township. Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to thank you for not passing resolution 555. I stand here today as an immigrant of this vibrant community, and with one gratitude for what the county has made to me as my home, as I have found a welcoming place since day one. Graduated from Atlantic City High School, Stockton, and did my master. Now we do a lot of business with the Latino and non-Latino community in real estate. So this is what I call home, and it's beautiful. Before I delve into the significance, I want to express again how grateful I am with this county. And the county has a place for our community where I have found acceptance living here in this county. This is a county embraces diversity that has allowed us to forge into a sense of belonging. I feel that I belong. Pleasure. Thank you for all your kindness and to open your arms to all of us. And countless many like myself who have found a home in Atlantic County. Today, as we gather here, of course, cultural heritage and rich history of immigrants to come to the United States have contributed to this nation. The United States is a country built by immigrants, and each of the newcomers has enriched the nation's cultural and the economy. I am proudly represented by my homeland, Honduras, and its rich history. Immigration to the United States has I share that experience with individuals and families around the world coming here in search of a better life and opportunity to contribute to this great nation. Our ancestors have struggled and sacrificed to serve, and as a reminder of the value of freedom and pursuit of the American dream. For many years, the immigrant community has become an integral part of the workforce of Alani County, contributing significantly to the growth and prosperity. We have seen neighborhoods like in Pleasantville, in Atlantic City, in Hamilton, change the dynamics, how enriched this and beautiful they have become, thanks to the hard work of the Latino families working in this area. And yes, I have seen many, but small businesses like mine, we depend on new labor, new people who come with to give it all, to dedicate and feed their families back home. But at the same time, in this global economy, that helps the small businesses like myself to be competitive and thrive in this county. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Naji Lord. I live at 201 Bates Avenue, Northfield, New Jersey, right around the corner. I just want to let you know that I'm very thankful, and forgive me if I tend to tear up. I am a longstanding community member. I have taught at Atlantic City Public School System for 29 years. I am a first-generation immigrant, and I have raised my children in Northfield. And I am very pleased with all that I have been able and afforded to take advantage of and give back. My children have been, my family motto is see a need, meet a need, and we believe that wholeheartedly. We raised our children that way. Our oldest is an occupational therapist. She works with children with Down syndrome up in Edison. My second works at Washington, D.C. as a first grade teacher of bilingual children. My son is in grad school to be a school counselor. My husband is getting his master's to be a school counselor. I'm getting my master's now because we put our children through school. And we have a sophomore at Mainland, and she is a productive member of society. I am a representation of the immigration process. I am a representation of that dream. And it is not a handout, it is a hand up. We go back and we bring forward others. I am a member of the Hispanic Association of Atlantic County, and I pridefully go and serve our community. I want to thank you for not even looking at 555, understanding that we are better together, we succeed, and that Latinos are united, and we will not stand by any longer. Thank you. That's all I have to say. I am very relieved. Thank you. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Charles Christopher Weisbecker. I live at 500 Beethoven Street, Ann Arbor, New Jersey. I'm very grateful we do this today. And I'm very grateful that we did that second the resolution. Just a couple things, things that may not have been spoken about tonight. Words matter, right? The resolution mentions the word illegal a few times. And I know this was in response to the plans to possibly house migrants at the Atlantic City International Airport. There's several problems with that. One is it casts all immigrants as criminals. We call them illegal. That's not really right. Second, if someone is approaching the United States and claiming asylum, by dint of the fact that they're claiming asylum, they now have legal protected status. That's an established fact in international domestic law. Third, those who have maybe approached the southern border and who have been processed to be sent to other facilities across the United States, wherever they go, also have protected status and should not be considered illegal. So just, that's part of it, but the other reason why language is important is because when we hear resolutions like this, and this was the same thing that went on with these 287G agreements that we finally got rid of, wherein county officials, county sheriffs, et cetera, were pretty much deputized as ICE agents. And we finally got rid of them, all of them. What this has is a chilling effect on migrant populations, particularly those that have status, those who might not be here legally, particularly in cases of violence against these communities. These are communities that are particularly vulnerable because of their legal status, perhaps, right? So in cases where they are victims of domestic violence, they fear to even approach the police for fear that they may be reported to ICE. To the extent that we have somehow become a sanctuary state, which I didn't know that we were, that has been not a thing, particularly since we got rid of the 287G agreements. If you are a victim of violent crime and you are a member of a migrant community, these sort of things where you can't go to law enforcement officers and tell them what happened, to ask for help and redress, because you might be detained in a prison for God knows how long and then maybe deported. This has a very chilling effect on the health, welfare, safety of our communities and should not be tolerated, no matter what our views are with regard to legal immigration, undocumented immigration, anything like that. So my time is up. Thanks for letting me share it.
Hello, I'm Kim O'Brien, 511 7th Street, Summers Point. I just wanted to kind of continue with the last gentleman was talking about why if you oppose agreements with ICE and our first responders and members of the public that work with the community, there's a reason. It doesn't mean that you're for open borders. It doesn't mean that we don't support laws. We do. I'm a teacher, so I work with children and families. That's my job. Last year, a mom reached out to me and asked me to set up a meeting with a guidance counselor and to stay and translate because she speaks Spanish and needed a translator. So I didn't know what it was about, but I set it up. She told us in the meeting that her husband was drinking heavily, getting violent with her, and that it was getting worse because her oldest son was starting to get involved to try to protect her. And she was really at her wit's end, didn't know what to do. So we talked about the possibility of going to a shelter. But because her oldest son was 18, he's an adult and wasn't eligible to go, and she didn't want to break up her family. So then we talked to her about going to the police station and getting a restraining order. And I offered to go with her. Wasn't that far, I said, that's fine. And she said it was okay. She felt like she could go do that because they'd been to her house before. She knew them, they knew her, and she felt comfortable going to do that. And the next morning, we found out that she did do that, and the police were able to come to her house and take her husband out, and she could stay in the apartment, and her kids could stay in her school. So, was she here legally? I don't know. I'm not supposed to know, and that's why. And neither do the police who handle that domestic dispute. That's why. In other words, don't put it on our local workers. Don't put it on us, because we have other jobs to do. We have border agents. That's their job. If you're not happy with the status of our immigration policies, tell your Congressman Jeff Van Drew. It's a federal problem. It's a federal problem. So I want to thank you for your time and for not passing this resolution. I also hope we never see it again. It's going to be obvious why if we do. And my final question is, can we please know which of you wanted the resolution to be on the agenda tonight? Didn't it have to be put up by a commission? So,
It was initially proposed by the county executive. He proposed.
but he doesn't decide what items are put on your agenda,
No.
correct? Okay, so which commissioner wanted it to be up there?
Well, when the county executive requested it, we posted it on the agenda.
So that was your choice?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Didn't have a
Thank you.
sponsor.
Am I okay? Yes, I can make it. I'm sorry. I'll make this real fast because things evolved in a positive manner. But I did have a whole lot of statistics about what our immigrants do for New Jersey. Actually, we have a large New Jersey.
Well, I know who you are, but could you give your name and address for the
Oh,
record?
yeah, you know who I am. I'm sorry. I can't remember who it is. Victoria Trudine. I live at 12 Stone Mill Court in Egg Harbor
Thank
Township. I think I still live there. Anyway, bottom line is I came with a lot of statistics about what immigrants do for New Jersey. But I'm just going to sum it up with one statement. Rutgers did a study of what immigrants, how and what they contribute to New Jersey. And the bottom line, I'm going to read that to you and then I'll be done. I know that you're going to not believe that. But it says New Jersey immigrants are so essential to its economy that if you subtracted their work, New Jersey would grind to a halt. That's how important they are here. Now, that's not my study. That's Rutgers' study. They spent a lot of time on this. They looked at the wide range of what immigrants, what they contribute to the state of New Jersey and all the various kinds of jobs. Keep in mind, we have our Latin community here that I love. Many of these people are my friends. But the largest immigrant community, I learned, are our Asian community. And it's a shame we don't see enough of our Asian community come out to represent themselves. And I am told from my research and my statistics that there is a reason for that because they have felt some discrimination. Maybe not from us, hopefully not from us in Lynn County, but you read enough of that in the paper. But that's how important our immigrants are. Our economy would come to a halt if we stopped all the immigrants from working here. Thank you very much for your decision tonight, by the way, guys. Have a good evening. The clock.
See, you had 1:13 to go, but she cut you off. It's okay.
That's all right.
Some people abide by the rule.
Good afternoon. My name is Dom Sambucci. I was here a couple of weeks ago with Atlantic Cape. I only showed up tonight. I know we met with a couple of the subcommittees this past week around the baseball field. And I just thought, I might have heard that it was going to be covered today in unfinished business, but I just wanted to ask before I left for the day.
Well, let's.
Yeah, I think we
You ready
need
with the report?
something to, I mean, we did meet, we did have questions answered, but we need something to vote on. So I think we needed to develop a resolution and put it on the agenda for our process, right?
Yeah, that's not what I understood. Rick, we were talking about this earlier. We have a report from the Budget Committee, we have a report. The Education Committee, we met on the topic.
We have.
And do you want to discuss it?
Do you want to have it discussed tonight?
Yes, if possible. I just didn't know if we had already, well, I didn't want to necessarily.
It's not going to be voted on tonight, whether we discuss it or not.
Oh, okay, that's
So-
fine. I was thinking there may be a vote, or if there was any other questions for me. I just wanted to make sure I checked in before I.
There are no questions. Frank, do you have any questions?
No, it's just, we just need to
Formalize it.
decide whether it's going back on the agenda for a vote. Or,
Rick,
I mean, I think the Education Committee is satisfied. And I'm not sure where the Budget Committee is, I'm not on that. So, I think we have the information that we need to either vote it up or vote it down, whenever it comes back on.
So, Mr. Chairman, I looked into this as late as today. It looks like if you get reports like in the next meeting, presumably, or anytime thereafter, from the respective committees, and the board seems like the reports align with the reports will be what they'll be. And then if you all are satisfied, meaning the board, my advice would be to simply just make a motion to to present it through a letter from the chairman. You don't need a resolution. I looked into this.
We don't have to transfer the funds for them?
My understanding is that the budget's already set. The question that was before the board was, have their questions been answered? And if they have been, I don't think you need a formal resolution. I haven't seen that anywhere that's ever been done that way.
Okay. that's
So
fine.
nothing speaks to it directly, but looking at the history, it's always been handled through a non-resolution process.
Well, I'm curious about that.
You can do it if you want, but I'm just telling you what I looked at, Mr. Chairman. So if the board feels differently and they want to do something differently than what I saw, that's the board's decision, I'm sure.
The only
The feeling of the board would like to have a formal resolution at the next
Mr.
meeting.
Chairman,
Is that
just
what you
a
want to do?
couple questions.
Good. Commissioner Bergeron.
I don't like to be anal, which I am, so just bear with me. When you have a budget and you do a line item and it's chapter 12 funding, and then at the school, we approved your budget request earlier in the year for you to do capital improvements, and the project was listed and the project's there. And now you want to transfer from the project to repair the gym and take some of the funds to go over to buy the field. We don't need to have we don't have to say that. Why would you even come here and tell us if you could do it without our approval? I don't know why you'd even be here.
We were, wait,
Was it a courtesy to come or was it?
I think if I may, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
I think it was. I think to the chairman's point, he has tried to open dialogue and open communication transparency with the community college, right? So that's why they came and made a presentation. I think there's confusion in terms of what action do we formally have to take. But I think in the spirit of having open communications, that's why they came. But I think we've had a good amount of questions asked and answered. From a budget committee perspective, I don't know that we had a recommendation for or against, but again, I don't know formally what action, what's the question in front of us? Because as I understand it, in the past, chapter 12 budget adjustments at ACCC have been done internally.
That's what Rick's telling us too. I'm hearing what the solicitor's interpretation of is as well. I'm just asking for my own edification as to why I'm discussing it.
Commissioner, are you done? Commissioner Ballas.
Yeah, if this is proper, I would just like to make a motion to have our board, our chairman, send a letter to the college stating that that with our approval, it's okay to go ahead and make that transfer.
But there's no objection.
There's no objection to the transfer.
Well, there's an objection. You speak for yourself.
Well, that's why.
Well, I'm just making a motion.
You said no objection. It is objection, so.
Well, again, what is the question in front of us, right? So
It's not a resolution. What I'm
Right.
saying is, from what our solicitor said, that all we need is a letter from our chairman. I'm just saying that with the vote of the board, instead of the chairman just doing it on his own, I would make a motion that our chairman sends a letter to the college to move forward with the construction of the baseball field.
Motion has been made. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, thank you. Been moved and second. Any further discussion?
There was a discussion on motion. No, yeah, I'm sorry, you is, Chairman, so my question is,
For
is that,
discussion.
I'm sorry, I was thinking about the table. That's, so I want to be very clear, Ballas makes a statement and Amy backs it up. That basically the college doesn't, through our attorney, the college does not need the approval or the authority of this governing body to move money out of chapter 12. That's round one, correct?
If I may, Mr.
No, just give me yes or no.
What I'm saying, Ernest, I'm not trying to avoid the question, was my understanding of the process would be the two respective committees entertain their issues, right? They would then report to this body in a meeting. And then if you all were copacetic with whatever those reports say, you would then, someone, if they thought it was appropriate, would make a motion to have the chair write a letter to the county executive, i.e. administration. That's what I'm saying.
Gotcha. So the commissioners wants to give the authority to the chairman to send a letter, opposed to a letter just coming by resolution from those who are voting on it, that they're okay with it. So both committees met, and apparently they have done some wheeling and dealing, and they fine with this decision. So if the college really didn't need to come to us, why are we even wasting the time then? Why are we even making a motion if they don't need our approval? It sounds like politics to me, but my point is that at the end of the day, y'all all said it. They don't need our approval. So why are we even voting on it? We had a committee meeting, with all due respect. We went to the committees, I get it. Got your answers you wanted. Well, I don't say so. So why are you even making a motion to do anything? They don't need us. They made it very clear.
Are you asking me?
I'm asking them, say
I think it's in the spirit of
Yeah, and
transparency.
I think it's because what we were just advised. And
Again, if they don't need our authority, you met, we met, everybody met, y'all had your answers, right? Well, they don't need a resolution from you. They don't need a vote from you. They don't need a letter from you, because they really don't need us. Even though we take taxpayers' money and we put it into the college, they basically saying, we don't need your authority anyway. So you pontificate and come up with a foolishness talking about make a motion to give the chairman the authority to send a letter, that the letter really doesn't even mean anything. Right? My point is, I get what all y'all saying. No disrespect, I get what you said. They don't need a letter. They do what the hell they want to do. They doing it anyway. They basically tell you, go screw yourself. That's what they tell you.
Okay.
Could I interject?
That's what they tell you, right? Because they don't need your authority.
Can I just?
No, I'm talking. And I got the floor. I told you, don't cut me off when I'm talking. My point is, with all due respect, Chairman, everybody got the information they want. We don't need to do anything. Gentlemen came to see what was the outcome. From the attorney, basically, you don't have to do nothing. Do what you want to do. Why we even entertaining this?
Well, you made a lot of remarks about
Oh,
the
I can't.
issue as well. You made a lot of
Oh,
remarks.
no. And I stick by my
I know.
remarks.
And I'm not debating whether you know that, but you made a lot of remarks and there was lots of concerns. They were all aired, a lot of questions were asked and answered, okay? And all we're looking to do is to move forward. Our attorney has advised this board that, a simple letter from a motion would suffice and we can move on.
But Chair, with all due respect, again, I respect your willingness, but the attorney has not, that's attorney talk. But if we already know we don't have the authority, what's the purpose?
Well, the actual original.
No, I'm talking to you, not the attorney.
Oh, I thought I had my 3 minutes.
No. You had your turn. I'm talking.
No, you still got 2 minutes and 8 seconds.
I'm talking. I'm asking the attorney.
One at a time.
So,
One at a time.
so my understanding is, but this issue is from, as a result of the last meeting,
Mhm.
is in both of the committees right now.
And it
right?
came out, right?
Yes.
Well, I haven't heard a report on either one of those from either committee yet. So,
Andrew did a report.
No, he did. I'm sorry, the
Oh.
minute. Did you do minutes?
We did minutes, and my report was that I don't think that there was a recommendation for or against from the budget committee. Our questions were satisfied.
and that's all I'm saying, Commissioner Corsi, is that after that process unfolds, you all will talk and figure out what you think is appropriate to communicate. That's all I'm saying to you.
Are you, from my understanding, you're not saying we can't do a resolution, but you're saying there's no need to do a resolution? Is
It
that-
doesn't look like that's been done in the past at all. It doesn't look like it's needed. Correct.
The only thing that's needed is a letter from what I heard.
And that's simply to say,
He said it.
and from
In
my
the spirit
perspective,
of better communication.
Exactly, that we discussed it.
So simple.
Yes.
Well, you just said that on the record. You don't need a letter. You just said it on the record.
All right, all right.
No,
I'll
Amy,
say-
don't do that.
I'll say from-
Don't cut me off.
I'm gonna let you all.
If I came from the education and schools end of it, what we did find, and just briefly, what I will say is, and we talked about some of these things, and I've stated, we are not in a position to make organizational decisions for ACCC. They have their own, and I said that they have their own board, the trustees board. Now, I will say for the record, I do have some issues with that, and our attorney and myself are having some conversations about that process because I'm confused. I don't get it either. You know, and I'm gonna put it out, I'll put it out there. We appoint the board of trustees. And then they're sovereign to us and can make whatever decisions they want. They have no accountability to us whatsoever at that point. We can't remove them. We can't anything. That once they're there, they're there. We can only put them there, from my understanding. So I'm looking on the legal part of it from the Education and Schools, as the chair of Education and Schools Committee, from the legal side of it, after confirm, I agree with you. It doesn't seem like we do have much authority to be able to tell them anyway, even if we wanted to. Not my rules. I didn't write the law. I'm not saying I like the law. I'm not saying I like it. And I think our attorney knows I'm not happy exactly with what I heard, but that's what I'm hearing. And so the Education and Schools Committee is very clear with that. Number one, we don't think we have the authority to tell ACCC to do when they're operational. If they want to do a baseball field, then that's not for us to decide. Now, when it comes to taxpayer money, I'm going to be very clear, and I said this to ACCC. When it comes to taxpayers' money, then we do have authority, and so that's where it gets a little bit of a gray area. And so now we're being told that it doesn't need a resolution, that it can just be from a letter of consent. I'm not a lawyer, but this is what we're being told, and we're all being told this at the same time.
So, Mr. Chairman, let me say for the record, don't get it twisted. None of you, don't get it twisted. ACC has done a lot of good things, and they made good points in their presentation. Just don't agree with it all, but they made good points, right? So let's be very clear about that. So when we talk about counting money and taxpayers' money, we give $3 million here, whatever, 100,000, whatever, it's still taxpayers' money. Whether we have no authority to tell them what to do with their Chapter 12, et cetera, we as county officials are still spending taxpayers' money. And yes, we do have some say-so when it comes to that. How they run their school and what they do with their staff, that's a whole new ballgame. But when we're spending taxpayers' money, we have a say-so. And you can turn the blind eye if you want to, but we have a say-so. Right? And so at the end of the day, right? Again, I will agree. You made some very good points. Not even objecting to that, right? But we still have some say-so when it comes to the dollar amount. All that other pontificating and esoteric foolishness y'all want to talk about doesn't matter at the end of the day, because Parker hit it right on the button. I can't tell him how to run his district, his school, but I can sure say something about the money we sent over.
We can say something about the money.
And that's we all need to be held accountable. Just to say, oh, because you got chapter 12, you can do whatever you want.
Half of it.
I'm not sure about that.
Corsi, Commissioner Corsi, and I'll end this and I'll be quick. Is my official position that coming out of our committee meeting was, no, okay, we can't tell them that they can't do it. Okay, that's fine, but we do have some say moving forward on what monies are going to the college and what monies they're spending. So we have to be a little bit more proactive on the sending of the money. That's where our authority is. So whether they're going to have to come back before this board in another year or so and talk about that basketball court.
You mean the gymnasium?
The gymnasium. And so we're going to be back here again having this similar conversation yet again in another year or so about $3.65 million, whatever have you. We know that's coming. So we should get ourselves ready for that because it's coming. You know, so they're going to move this money, but then there's going to be another project. That's where I'm being told our authority is. So
again, I agree with you 100%. This sets the tone, Chairman, and I'm not cutting you off, Chairman, but this sets the tone, as Commissioner Parker said, going forward, no matter what happens today, they need to be held accountable for the taxpayers' dollars.
It all lies with the Board of School Estimates. That's what that's there for, the Board of School Estimates. We meet with them, the college, and with the Special Services School District, and we have meetings, and we go over their budget, and we sign off. That's the Board of School Estimates' purpose.
So it gets back to what we.
So if I could just add one thing. Yeah, when we ask for the reallocation of the funds, we've traditionally done that as a routine standard operating procedure. If there was anything we needed, maybe in another bucket for, particular reasons, we would send that request. And then you would evaluate that and then either approve it or deny it. In most cases, it's been approved. I don't recall any or I've heard of any that have not. However, when this went forward with a request, it stayed out there longer, which is why we started to try to understand why, and which brought us to the meeting ultimately. And I think too, we have a better understanding of the process now, when or if we do have those types of things. We now know that it needs to come through subcommittee and then, bring it through. So I know last time we were not aware of the process.
Absolutely.
So we apologized about that, and that's why we definitely want to go back through the committees, which we did. And
I
if
think
we
the
have anything
subcommittee,
like that.
I think the subcommittee meeting went well. And I think Frank, Commissioner Bennett went well. I think what we did absolutely changed some operating procedures. So moving forward, we know that we're gonna be operating differently in terms of the college and this commissioners board. And we have different expectations, and I think we have an understanding of what that looks like moving forward.
Yes, sir.
Back to our attorney, Rick.
Well, we have a motion and a second. We have.
I have a question.
The motion is at this point. Did we get a second on it?
Yes.
Okay. So, look, my advice is to let the two committees report to the chair. That's my understanding of how it's supposed to function. If you want to vote nonetheless, you have the motion on the floor to authorize the chair to write a letter to the executive and the administration telling
So you
them
could
that you're
vote,
satisfied with the questions that have been answered.
you can vote yes or no on the
Chairs on both
response to him, send the letter. So you do get a say here as a commissioner on it. We could,
Say
you have
that
a
one
motion,
more time?
a motion and a second to have him send the letter, but you have a motion and a second. If they do a roll call vote on the permission for the chair to send the letter, you can vote it up or down, whatever you want to do as a
Correct.
commissioner.
Right.
That way you get your say.
So Rick, just so it's clear, during unfinished business, none of this was discussed. So you said report to the board. The minutes suffice? That's the reporting to the board?
So
Because I read the minutes, but it was discussed under unfinished business and I'm not sure where we're headed with it.
So every interaction I've had where you all have had something go to your committees, they've digested it through their process and then they've come to the chair and made a recommendation in the form of, I'll call that a verbal report, maybe even a written one. I don't want to speak for who wrote and who didn't, but that process unfolded, you all heard it, and then you took action based on that. And that's what I was saying you ought to do, simply because right now, that's the limbo you're in, it's in committees. But if you all want to vote, that's, you're the commission. Do what we gotta do.
So we still have a motion.
You have a motion on the
End
floor.
discussion, open it to the public, take the vote.
Any further public comment before we vote? Madam Clerk, please call the roll then.
Malice?
Yes.
Martino?
No.
Forsy?
No.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Kern?
No.
Parker?
We count on a bad guy.
Vote your conscience.
Yes.
Grizzly?
Yes.
Let's go.
Motion's carried.
Thank you very
Any
much.
other public comment?
Thank you.
It's just for a letter.
Okay, anything else?
I know, we were in public comment.
We're in public comment. Any other person would like to speak? Online as well? We have any folks online who'd like to speak? No? Okay. All right, we're good of the order. Anybody have any items of good of the order?
Mr. Chair, just quick, sorry. Good.
I'll let him.
I'll
let him go all.
How much years are my senior member?
I just, this Saturday is the 100th anniversary celebration of Atlantic County Firefighters Association meeting. Coming from one of the larger municipalities, think of EHT, Galley, Hamilton, the savings, having these volunteers, the savings for the taxpayers is immense. So they're having, t-shirt sales, challenge coins, ball caps, hot dogs, raffles, there's a lot going on. From 1 to 5 at Egg Harbor Lake. The parade starts at 12, actually. The ceremony starts at 2 o'clock. So that's at Egg Harbor Lake on Saturday.
Mr. Chairman, just a reminder, it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
Very good. Any other comments? Not a motion to adjourn is in order.
Motion, I move.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.